Hello, this is Chris, and I am back again with a brand new trailer reaction video, and I'm playing catch up to a couple of trailers that came out about 2 weeks ago, which absolutely astounds me that I haven't found time to jump on a reaction for this already, but this is a reaction for X-Men Dark Phoenix Trailer 1. I am a huge X-Men fan, and that's what I mean when I say I'm really surprised that I haven't jumped on this before. I've completely stayed away from this trailer so I could get a first-time trailer reaction out for you guys, and yeah, so let's talk X-Men. So, very, very turbulent past with the movies. X-Men 1 and 2 are obviously fantastic. X-Men 1 was one of the comic book movies alongside Spider-Man that kind of kick-started this whole new wave of superhero films. And then you have some really bad ones along the way, like X-Men 3, X-Men Origins Wolverine, etc., and things like that. But when the series was rebooted with X-Men First Class, a film that I absolutely love, and then follow it up with Days of Future Past, which to me, like, I know a lot of people prefer First Class. I'm in the camp that I actually prefer Days of Future Past. That felt like it brought everything full circle. It brought in the old cast. It mashed them so well with the new cast. Very compelling story, very moving at times for a lot of characters. And it is one of my favourite comic book movies ever made. So, of course, with the bar being set that high with Days of Future Past, then comes in X-Men Apocalypse, and that is probably one of the worst comic book movies I've ever seen, and certainly one of the worst X-Men movies ever made, and it was such a shame. It was the same director as Days of Future Past and X-Men 2 and X-Men 1 with Bryan Singer, so you should think that the X-Men brand under his leadership is kind of in good hands, and I don't know what the hell went wrong. The movie was an absolute disaster beginning to end, and it's weird how one movie in a series can just be an absolute gut punch to an entire successful franchise, to the point where now, like, obviously I'm still going to see things like Logan, I'm still going to see things like Deadpool, which only tie in quite loosely with the X-Men franchise, at least Deadpool anyway. So now we're getting X-Men Dark Phoenix, and a lot of stuff has happened with not just the X-Men brand, but with the Fox brand in general. So for people that don't know, before I get into my reaction video, Disney have finally bought out 20th Century Fox. It was a deal that's been talked about for absolutely ages, and it finally came to fruition earlier this year. And I think I've seen recent reports that it's all being finalized and done by January next year, 2019. We were meant to have another X-Men movie out earlier this year. I think it was meant to be coming out April, called New Mutants, which we actually got a trailer for, and I believe that I actually did a trailer reaction for. That's since been pushed back to God knows when. I think it's meant to be coming out next year some point, but I don't know if a date's been set for that or not. And then obviously Dark Phoenix as well itself, the big X-Men movie, was also pushed back indefinitely. So I don't know if that was to do with this merger that's gone through, this Disney buying out the rights to Fox. They'll be clearly rebooting the X-Men franchise themselves and probably bringing them into the Marvel Cinematic Universe at some point. So maybe they're trying to make people forget about these or pushing them back. But nevertheless, obviously they're still being released as normal. And that's where we've got our trailer for Dark Phoenix now. There's a lot more to it than that, which I'll probably talk about after the reaction video, because you guys don't want to hear me talk for like minutes on end, although clearly if you're still with me right now, you already have. So with all that being said, we're going to watch the trailer together now. I'm going to talk much more about it afterwards. I don't know if this one will be quite as good as Days of Future Past, but I'm hoping it's a darn sight better than X-Men Apocalypse. So with all that being said, I'm going to click play now.
You think you can fix me?
Jean, you are not broken.
Oh, cover of the Doors.
Takes
Nice.
the slightest tap to tip it in the wrong direction.
Charles, what did you do?
I had to keep her stable. I protected her.
So it does seem like they're repeating a lot of the beats of The Last Stand.
There's another word for that.
Why is Mystique blonde now?
I'm looking for answers.
You feel like you don't belong here. You don't. They can't begin to comprehend what you are.
She's changing.
And what?
You didn't come here looking for answers. You came here looking for permission. Jean. She's all rage, pain, and it's all coming out at once.
Jean lost control, but she's still our friend.
This is your fault, Charles. The world is on the brink. I'm sorry I didn't stop it sooner.
You're always sorry, Charles, and there's always a speech, and nobody cares.
There's still hope. Don't do this.
It looks like they've definitely boosted
You're right,
Cyclops,
Tim.
which I like. He is meant to be the leader of the X-Men.
And I'm looking at it now.
Yeah, it doesn't look that bad from the trailer. I've seen a lot of people completely raging against this thing, and that's why I was kind of going into this very, very apprehensively. There were reports that the story or script had been leaked, I think it was just story, and the people had said it was like an absolute travesty. Again, they said that Simon Kinberg's directing this, and he wrote the script, I believe, for X-Men 3, The Last Stand, which is revered for being one of the worst X-Men movies. It really did let the air out of the tank of what was proceeding to be a fantastic X-Men franchise, and kind of sounds a little bit similar with what's happened with the reboot franchise as well, with the likes of Apocalypse. And they've brought him back on, and he's directing. I believe this is his directorial debut as well. And apparently it's more or less beat for beat exactly what X-Men 3 The Last Stand was again. And from the trailer, it does kind of look like that. We've got... they're going with the angle again that Jean Grey, the Phoenix, is something trapped inside of her by the looks of it. I know we get that shot in space, so maybe they will make it more cosmic like the comics is, where it is this Phoenix-like entity that possesses her, I believe. I haven't read the comics, but I know that it's more set in space, and I think it's more of an entity in space that infects her. Whereas in X-Men 3 The Last Stand, it was more this split personality thing that they were going with, and I could see what they were trying to do with it. Maybe they're trying to make it a little bit more grounded, but I think it was completely far removed from what the actual Dark Phoenix saga is in the comic books, and I think it's probably one of the most beloved sagas in all of the X-Men storylines. So they did kind of drop the ball with that one, as well as killing off Cyclops and many of the main X-Men in that franchise as well, kind of anticlimactically. But I've heard that they're repeating some of the same things in this film, which, if it didn't work the first time, don't do exactly the same thing the second time, but it looks like they're doing very much the same. You've got that shot of James McAvoy going to see her when she was a young girl and to her parents. That was the opening of X-Men 3. Every shot I see of Cyclops in this movie, I'm just terrified in case they're going to kill him off screen again. But it looked like, judging from the scenes, and I don't know, it looks like some of these were taken from the end of the film as well, when it looks like everything's going down. And I made sure to check that he was still in the background, and it looks like he is. So hopefully they won't kill him off in this. But besides that, it just feels like a case of been there, done that. It is almost like a soft reboot. Well, it pretty much is. It's a soft reboot of the Dark Phoenix franchise, written by the same guy that did it the first time, which just absolutely astounds me. Am I ready for X-Men to move on, I guess, is the big question for me. As I said, I'm a huge X-Men fan. I grew up with 90s cartoon. Still one of the best intro themes to any cartoon show ever made. I love that. I grew up playing some of the games as well, like X-Men Mutant Academy 2. And the X-Men has always been the property of Marvel that I've liked the most. The most interesting characters for me, the most creative powers, the costumes, everything. I just love that team-up dynamic with the X-Men. And I always go and see the films, like with every Batman movie. It could be good, it could be bad. You could have like a tenure of a great Batman, and then all of a sudden you could have a really bad one. And you kind of roll with the punches. Like, I just show up, I turn up, and I'm always there for more X-Men. I'm always there for more Batman. And that's the case with this one as well. Like, I will give this a chance. This is, without a doubt, going to be the last one in this X-Men First Class saga, I guess you can call it now. The 4 movies that are going to come out of it with this. And then Disney will be moving on to their own thing. They'll be rebooting this, clearly. They'll be bringing in a whole new bunch of actors. We'll have a whole new X-Men franchise completely rebooted. And maybe that's the best thing. Like, in all honesty, like, if you'd have asked me the same question, do you want this X-Men franchise to continue, before X-Men Apocalypse had come out and we were fresh hot off the heels of Days of Future Past, I would have said absolutely, let Fox keep it. They found their footing now. First Class was great. Days of Future Past was even better. Let them just continue it because they know what they're doing now. They've had their fair share of bad X-Men movies. They've learnt from it, and it looks like they finally course corrected. And Days of Future Past was a movie all about course correction. Like, they nailed it. Like, they completely reset the timeline. You know, the world was their oyster at that part. The sky was the limit. And in the very next movie, they completely regressed to being one of the worst comic book movies ever made. To that point, I kind of do want Disney to take over. You know, they've got pretty much every other character apart from Spider-Man. With this Fox deal, not only will it give them X-Men, it will also give them Fantastic Four. I'm just thinking, let them do something great with it. Which is a shame because Fox can be great. They made Logan, for example, which is one of the best comic book movies ever made. Great character study of the character of Logan. And then they also do the Deadpool movies. And, you know, maybe they don't tie in as much as people want them to with, like, the MCU and everything like that, but they're good, solid, fun movies. Ryan Reynolds is great, and they nailed the tone, and it's a very faithful adaptation of that comic book character. They can do it well. It's just the X-Men franchise. And, you know, with X-Men moving to Disney, where the fate of Deadpool is, I don't know. I don't know if Disney will do a Deadpool movie. I don't know if we'll get a sequel or if they'll throw a cameo in there or if they're going to leave him out completely. It's kind of all up in the air now, but it is very exciting to see what some of the possibilities are with the X-Men franchise now. I'll absolutely be at this one day one because I do love X-Men and, you know, I've followed all the movies at this point. Maybe it will win me over, but I know that the movie's gone through a lot of reshoots. A lot of people have talked about the poor story choices and how it feels like a retread of all the mistakes they've done before. Also, I believe this is set in the early 90s, and if we're following with the continuity that this eventually leads into X-Men 1, where Ian McKellen's playing Magneto and you've got Patrick Stewart playing Charles Xavier, so in the span of, like, 7 years, they turn from James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender into Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen. Like, I'm not buying it. They shouldn't have done this amount of time jumps between films. They already stretched that possibility with X-Men Apocalypse, where that was set 10 years after Days of Future Past, and then this is another 10 years after that. I think it's just too much at this point. The actors don't look like they've aged 30 to 40 years or however much it is between movies. It's kind of ridiculous at this point. But I guess that's everything I can say about X-Men Dark Phoenix official trailer 1. Like, I was completely expecting to watch this trailer and hate every single minute and tear at a new one. But it looks fairly inoffensive. It looks like an X-Men movie like the last ones that we've had. But it does look very repetitive, and that's what I think this movie is going to fall into the trap of. It's going to be very been there, done that, and hopefully they do skirt around some of those problems that have befallen the X-Men franchise before. But if they do and they regress to those same problems, then it's all going to be okay, because on the horizon we've got the new X-Men franchise fronted by Disney at some point, and I'm sure it'll be in safe hands with them. It feels like all these properties are kind of coming home under one roof now. For better or worse, some people might say that if Disney had control of the X-Men, we wouldn't have films like X-Men 2. We wouldn't have films like Deadpool or Logan or Days of Future Past. So I just guess it's going to be a case of we'll see it when we see it. So that'll do it for my reaction to X-Men Dark Phoenix official trailer 1. Be sure to comment, subscribe, let me know what you thought of this trailer. Are you looking forward to this movie? Are you kind of done with the X-Men franchise now because of X-Men Apocalypse or any other movie that would have come out before then? Anything X-Men, Fox, Disney related, Marvel related, please do let me know. Many more reaction videos are coming. I still need to catch up on a few from last week. But hit that subscribe button, hit the bell icon as well, because we're bringing you a lot more content now. Movie reviews, original shows, as well as trailer reactions, and some new ideas on the horizon as well. So please support the channel. So until the next video, I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.